Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. We have a great show planned today, a very important show. Actually, a show that validates some things I've said over the past 14 years about pregnancy and how fetuses get messages from their mother's dietary habits that set them up for the environment that they will be entering into. But before we do that, we have to thank our title sponsor, and that is Legendary Foods, for gracing us with a generous donation, or contribution, I should say. Right, a donation would be tax exempt. So, eatlegendary.com. If you use the code SHR10, you'll get 10% off all of their products. They have amazing products, great snacks, great choices. Their seasoned almonds are beyond anything you've ever tasted before. They're less than 1 gram of sugar. No sugar added. Their nut butters are decadently delicious. And I actually use their nut butters as dessert. I take a spoonful after eating a meal, and I feel very satisfied that I had something sweet, but I don't have all the sugar. And then, of course, their most popular product right now, which is their Tasty Pastry, which is basically a Pop-Tart upgraded. It's called the Tasty Pastry. It looks like a Pop-Tart. It toasts like a Pop-Tart, but it has less than 1 gram of sugar, 9 grams of high leucine carbohydrates, and 3 to 4 grams of impact carbohydrates. And you can't get anything better. They can't even keep those on the shelf. They're so delicious. So again, go to eatlegendary.com, use the code SHR10, and save 10% off all of your healthy, nutritious, quality snacks, and get them for your kids too. Your kids don't have to know that they're good for them. They'll love them. Their friends will be jealous. Look, I gave myself my COVID-19 haircut. Elisa, we got one of these little clippers, and she did it. And I got to be honest with you, I love the way my hair looks like this. You can see more gray now, but more importantly, I think I'm going to just do this from now on. Okay, so let us move on to the important topic at hand, and that is my guest. Let me just drop this image here. And my guest today is Dr. Min Du. How you doing, Dr. Du?
Yeah, I'm good.
Thanks for being here. And I should say that you are a professor at Washington State University in the Nutrigenomics and Growth Biology Lab, correct?
Yes.
Very good, very good. And so you did a study recently and published a study that looked at the outcome of exercise during pregnancy. And you used a rodent model, but a lot of this stuff gets us on the paper. We can see things in rodents, and then you move on to obviously human models. Why did you do this study? What preceded this that you felt that this study needed to be done?
Yeah, basically, initially we think that exercise right now is becoming less common in general public, including in pregnant women. So we are thinking that itself could be a negative factor affecting fetal development. So we initially started study with obese women because obesity right now is very common. About more than 1/3 of pregnant women actually are obese, and more than 1/3 are overweight. But during our study, we realized that maybe in the healthy woman, physically fit woman, if not exercise or lack of exercise, could also a factor which could negatively affect fetal development. So that's actually the study was based on.
Now, from an evolutionary perspective, this makes perfect sense. And the reason I say that is, from an evolutionary perspective, women were not treated differently when they were pregnant. They still had to go out when we were hunter-gatherers. They still had to go out and forage for food. They had to contribute to the village. They had to work. And even if we look at primitive cultures today around the world, intact primitive cultures, we see that when women get pregnant, they don't just lay around all day long waiting for the baby to be born. They still are involved in all the duties of life, right?
Yes, exactly. That's actually one of the reasons why we initiate the study. We are thinking that in the long evolution history, actually people and the pregnant woman always bioactive, and activity is necessary in order to get food or in order to survive. But in the modern society, this of course become less and less common in general public, and especially in pregnant women. Some women may think that exercise could risk even for the fetus because wanted to be protective.
Now,
So we
wait, wait a minute. I want to stay with that for a second. That's a very important point. So, in hundreds of years ago, a sign of affluence was that people didn't have to work hard, and when women got pregnant, they were treated like delicate eggs, where they couldn't do anything, and because it was thought that if the woman worked hard, that she could potentially abort the fetus. But then that message was carried through by modern medicine. I mean, even today, doctors, well, maybe not today, but when I had children, 28 years ago, obstetrician gynecologists were telling their female patients, eat all you want and rest, just rest. Don't work hard, just rest. And that's a horrible message that has actually potentially contributed to the childhood obesity rate that we see today. Would you agree with that?
Yes, that's of course we do not have direct evidence for that. That's the reason why we conduct this rodent study. But based on this study, actually, that would be a factor contributing to the obesity we observe right now.
Right. Okay. So your study looked specifically at what markers? What were you looking at specifically in the rodents that were? So you had two groups of rodents. Describe the setup of the study.
So we initially actually we did 4 groups, including obese mice and then lean mice. During our study, actually, we realized that even in lean mice, there could have a negative change in the fetal development. So we end up focusing on the lean mice or physically fit mice, and we primarily focusing on the brown fat. Brown fat is a sort of fat which actually burn fatty acids instead of store it. So this is a little different from white fat. The white fat is responsible for the obesity we observed, but brown fat is bone fatty acid, so it's actually can provide prevent obesity. So we specifically studied the brown fat in the study, and we found that exercise during pregnancy actually can enhance brown fat development, so that in the end could prevent the obesity. And yeah.
Okay. So is this phenomenon about developing brown fat in the fetus? Does it make it easier for the maturing rodent and possibly adult human to reproduce this effect? Because brown fat is thought to be hard for humans to make and easy for rodents to make. But if you can make brown fat in the womb, does it predispose you to be able to do that again later on in life when you want to, if the right conditions occur, exercise and proper nutrition, can you make brown fat again?
Exactly. This is what our hypothesis is. Yes, it's true. Brown fat is quite exists in quite large size in rodents, but in humans, under normal condition, actually the amount is limited, but they can be induced, like exercise by certain drugs, and then certain diets, actually nutrients can induce it. And we found that the exercise offspring, their brown fat are easy to be induced later. So that's another important that we think have a direct application to the humans, because in the humans, as we already discussed, in the normal condition, because we are living in a thermoneutral condition, that means we are very comfortable and temperature-wise. So that do not require brown fat to be functional to generate heat to maintain body temperature. However, diet, many other factors can stimulate brown fat development. And we found that by exercise during pregnancy actually makes offspring or the next generation, they are easier to induce brown fat. So
really? So
it
has transgenerational effects.
I would say we call it the intergenerational effect. So transgeneration, we usually referring to the granddaughter to the grandchildren. So we are here. We are talking about the
mother
and
to the
immediate
child. Okay.
children. So we call it intergenerational.
Okay. Okay. So if the offspring then are born with more of this brown fat, and then they actually have the ability to create more brown fat throughout their lives, then do we see them actually being leaner? Because obviously there's a lot of people who are quite obese, but also produce brown fat.
Mm-hmm. So in the offspring mice, we did not see difference under the healthy diet. But when eat a diet high in energy, like high fat, high sugar, that's common in Western societies, actually the offspring mice get obese, but the offspring from exercise muscles actually are resist to get obese. So that indicates there is a protective effect to become obese later in life.
So we know now that you don't a fat cell doesn't go away. It just either has a lot of storage or very little storage. So and we know that there are things, as you pointed out earlier, that can cause the browning of white fat.
Mm-hmm.
But that fat has a tendency to become white again if you don't continue the thing that has caused it to brown. If a fat cell is created as a brown fat cell in the fetus, does it tend to remain a brown fat cell for the duration of life?
Not necessarily. Actually, if there is a stimulus, if removed, then they do have a tendency to convert into white fat.
Back to white. Okay.
However, based on the current study, actually, the common consensus is that white fat actually, especially white adipocyte, is not that bad. So regarding the white adipose tissue, the view is that the adipocyte itself, actually the white adipose tissue itself, is protective. But the problem occurs when there is excessive energy intake, like from food, but less exercise. So the energy accumulates. So the makes the existing fat cells hypertrophy, called increase in size. When the size becomes too big, that cause metabolic problems, because that induce inflammation and some other changes in the adipose tissue, and basically the fat cells, every individual fat cell become too big. So if we can generate new fat cells effectively, or have more new fat cells, even white fat cells, they still be protective from metabolic diseases. That's actually differentiates some person. They looks like obese, but they are healthy because they possibly have a more small adipose size compared with another person which might appear lean but metabolically unhealthy. Could be due to the limited number of adipocytes in the body, but they are quite amount of atrophy, increase in size, which actually could result in metabolic symptoms.
So go ahead and describe the study. So you had two groups of rodents, right, or three?
We have two groups of rodents.
Okay.
Yeah.
One was a control, And they were fed ad libitum, but they're not allowed to exercise. These were both non-obese rodents, right?
Yes, both of them are not obese. One we call it inactive or sedentary. So basically, they are not exercise. And the other group was exercise regularly, actually daily for 1 hour.
On the wheel, they get on the wheel.
We actually use treadmill. We do not use wheel exercise because that there is quite amount of variation among the individual mice. So that would make the study less conclusive because of the variation exists. So we use the treadmills so we can control the speed and the intensity of the exercise and to be mimic what woman can exercise during pregnancy.
Okay, and so what are the rodents reluctant to exercise during pregnancy, or do they get on there and they walk no problem?
They actually, so I would say it's depending on the mice. Most of the mice actually can exercise, but the degree of exercise would be quite variable. Some mice just do not like exercise, and some could exercise quite a lot. So that causing lots of variations among the mice, exercise mice. When the variation is big, then it would be makes the conclusions less conclusive.
Right.
So that's the reason why we did not use that.
It's funny because that means the rodents are just like humans. There are some humans who like to exercise, and there's some humans who hate it. They think it's horrible.
Yes, exactly.
That's pretty funny. So, so in the group that exercised, they were fed the same diet, I would imagine, as the group that was sedentary, right?
Yes.
Okay, and so what were the outcomes when you looked? What did you find?
So in the exercise group, we found some decline in the weight, and that weight we analyze is mainly due to consume of the white fat. So that's just as expected. When you exercise, you lose some fat, and then we compared the offspring. Actually, we analyzed the fetus too. They does have show that they are improved brown fat development, and that's a lasting effect on the offspring brown fat mass and the thermogenesis, heat production.
So did you set out to only look at brown fat production, or did you set out to look at other markers as well that indicate maybe some sort of metabolic derangement or the lack of metabolic derangement?
Actually, this study was set up to analyze both brown fat and muscle development too. So in the paper we published, it's only focusing on brown fat, and we still have another paper under review right now. It's focusing on the muscle, and both of them are very important tissues for inducing fatty acid oxidation and glucose utilization. So they are important to prevent metabolic symptoms in the offspring. So that's the reason why we focus both the muscle and the brown fat.
So can you tell us what you found that indicates that there is more muscle creation occurring in the fetus of the rats that exercise? Was there a downregulation in myostatin, or were there any indicators that, or when the babies were born, did they have more muscle than their sedentary counterparts, for instance?
Yeah, actually, we found that there is more muscle. Of course, we cannot directly measure the muscle mass when they are born because mice, when they are born, is too immature to actually quantify the muscle mass. But when we analyze in the weaning, in the day 21, age of 21 days, we did find that the muscle mass was slightly increased. And more importantly, the fiber type is different. And there's a higher ratio of oxidative muscle fiber types, type 1 muscle fibers, that actually can enhance energy utilization.
So this would indicate, because we already know that mothers who eat unrestricted and gain, and this is in humans, who gain large amounts of fat during their pregnancy, give birth to very, very large babies who show early on metabolic derangement towards insulin resistance. We know that mothers who develop a lot of body fat during their pregnancies, their babies are born with a lot of body fat. More importantly, their babies are born in with what a lot of people like to call the Thrifty Gene, but the reality is that their babies don't lose body fat easily, and they are prone to becoming obese adults from the mother's behavior. So it makes perfect sense that the exact opposite is true, that mothers who remain fit, who eat enough food for their pregnancy, but don't get crazy fat, and they exercise, they build humans that are more metabolically flexible, that have a greater insulin sensitivity, and have an ability to get rid of body fat quickly. When you took the test rodents and you fed them less food, they lost fat quickly, right?
Yeah, actually, more importantly, the offspring rodents from exercise muscles, actually, they can exercise more, and they are resistant to fatigue. Actually, so that's very interesting. And
That's really great. They get exercise tolerance. They get a greater tolerance to exerting themselves.
yes, so that's actually we think it's quite an important discovery. That that more like a programming effects on their exercise ability, and also we found that the muscle contraction force was slightly improved too. So in combination, we think the muscle change is a major contributor to the improved insulin sensitivity and the resistance to the obese when challenged with a high energy diet.
Was there anything that surprised you about this study? I know you set out to look at specific endpoints to validate or unvalidate the reasons you were looking at the study. Was there anything that you learned that you didn't expect to learn from the research?
Actually, that's, as I told in the beginning, we originally set up using obese mice because obese maternal mice, so that we expect the effect would be more dramatic when it's obese than exercise. But we later found that even without obesity, just physical fit muscles, the difference is quite dramatic. That actually is not what we originally expected. We originally do not expect to have such dramatic effect in the offspring.
In fit mice.
Yeah.
But this also sounds to me like if a mom has ignored her health for a long time, she's got a lot of body fat, and she gets pregnant, there is some benefit to the mom doing exercise. Obviously, exercise she can tolerate, which it may just be walking every day, but there looks like there might be an ability to intercede and have the fetus get signals that will help the fetus be born as a more metabolically flexible offspring if the obese mice mother human exercises during her pregnancy. Is that true?
Yes. So we in the study actually we also look at what causes improvement in the fetal development. We found the exercise can secrete we call exokines. Those are cytokines secreted by the muscle fibers during exercise, and those cytokines actually can mediate the effect of the maternal exercise, which can improve the fetal development.
So cytokines can actually be signaling in this case. We know cytokines
Yes.
are inflammatory agents that the immune system leverages to fight off things. But what you're saying is that cytokines can actually be more of a signal. So the baby is getting a signal from the mother that the world that the baby is going to be born into requires activity, a muscle activation, and so the baby will be born then perhaps avoiding some of the problems that the mother has before pregnancy by the mother starting to exercise during pregnancy. I think that's a really big point. And the reason I say that is because we are nearing 50% of the population being overweight and obese today. And so there's a lot of moms out there who just got pregnant. They just found out they were pregnant last week or this week. And they'll listen to a show like this and they'll be downhearted. They'll think, oh, I wish I would have taken care of my body longer before being pregnant. Don't feel that way. Start now. Start where you are. And if all you can do is walk, you don't have to do anything heroic. We know that. We know that the reason people respond to exercise rapidly, but then they hit a wall as they go on, is because when you don't exercise at all and you start to exercise, you see some dramatic changes very quickly. But then the body becomes accustomed to them, and it starts to slow down the progress. So if you're a mom and you just found out you're pregnant, get clearance from your doctor to walk, and walk every day a couple times, to even 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon, because your body will send signals to that baby that will give that baby a better head start when it's born.
Yes. So I would say the exercise is always good. But of course, for pregnant women, do not over-exercise, but over-exercise would be like a very high intense. So regular like walking and even the jogging and some relatively low intensity.
Low impact stuff. Pilates, yoga. They have yoga classes just for pregnant women. In fact, there's a picture that we use for today's show from a yoga class for pregnant women. Those types of things. Don't, if you've never done strenuous exercise, don't start now, but start doing some exercise. Low impact, moderate intensity, something that you can easily do for 20 or 30 minutes at a time. Start there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's never be too late to start the exercise, and exercise regularly. That's always good. Yeah.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we got more to discuss. We're talking with Dr. Min Du. He is with Washington State University. And this is a fascinating study because childhood obesity is a big problem today. And people like to blame the parents. Oh, you're feeding the child too much. And that may be true. I'm not letting them off the hook, but it may start sooner. It may start earlier. It may start when the mom finds out she's pregnant and she takes well-meaning but incorrect advice. Eat all you want and rest. That's going to build the wrong type of human for this modern world. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Superhuman Radio.
Okay.
Men and women, you've heard about hormone optimization. Do you feel like it's something you want to look into? RenewLifeRx.com is the place to start. Their doctors can help you with the solutions. RenewLifeRx.com has a simple process for lab work, consultation, and taking a deep dive into where your hormone levels can be improved. Superhuman Radio listeners get 30% off your initial lab work and consultation. Go to RenewLifeRx.com to schedule your no-obligation phone consultation today. Feel younger, get in better shape, and be more productive at RenewLifeRx.com.
7,451. That's how many people kick the bucket, buy the farm, or cash in their chips every day in the United States. Yep, that means 5 people are going to meet their maker during this commercial. And no, our commercials are not the cause. Half of those who punch the clock for the final time will do so without life insurance. Call Big Lou at Term Provider before you are number 7452. If you're a 50-year-old male, a tad porky with a touch of diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost about $200 a month. With more verified 5-star reviews than any other Lou on the radio, Big Lou has saved thousands of people thousands on their term insurance premiums. Stop procrastinating and call Big Lou today at 800-560-0301. 800-560-0301. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He doesn't want to be number 7,452. Call 800-560-0301 or biglou.com.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
Do you remember those delicious toaster pastries you had when you were a kid? You know, the rectangular sugar-filled snacks? Well, guess what? Legendary Foods has just made low-carb toaster pastry. This is the first of its kind, and honestly, these things are amazing. They have 3 to 4 net carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 9 grams of protein. You can eat them right out of the wrapper or lightly toast them. The only question is, which flavor, strawberry or brown sugar cinnamon? They're available at eatlegendary.com and Amazon. How often do you sit with your laptop right on your lap? How much time do you spend on your cell phone? Are you in a technology-packed office Monday through Friday? Are you worried about this type of radiation? Now there's something you can do about it. GetLambs.com. This radiation has been linked to infertility in men, glandular tumors, gut microbiome dysbioses, and impaired sleep quality. Now you can provide 360-degree protection to at-risk parts of your body with radiation-proof apparel from GetLambs.com. Comfortable, breathable, and 99% effective. Go to GetLambs.com and use coupon code SHR for 20% off your order of $100 or more. That's getlambs.com, GETLAMBS.com, and code SHR. Welcome back. We're talking with Dr. Mindu. We're talking about exercise during pregnancy. It's a good thing. I see moms at the gym all the time exercising, and I always make a point to walk up to them and say, you're doing such a good thing for your child. And they always say to me, I hope so, because their mom is telling them, don't do this, it's not a wise thing, just relax. And I'm sure they're having their doctors telling them, you know, don't do anything strenuous. Now, these are women that have been exercising for a long time before getting pregnant. These are women who go into the gym, they're moving weight, they're sprinting, they're doing things that you shouldn't do if you've never done that stuff. You don't start it when you're pregnant. But the reality is that if you are someone who's exercised most of your life and you were exercising before you got pregnant, there's really little evidence that you should stop exercising. Would you agree with that, Dr. Du?
No, you should not. Definitely should not. Should continue exercise. Exercise is good, and do not stop it.
So, were the benefits of exercising during pregnancy seen across both male and female offspring, or were there sex differences?
No sex difference. See, I cannot say that there is a slight difference, but both are beneficial.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. And because I would think that testosterone and estrogen would have different roles in how we handle body fat and so on.
Yeah. So we did observe a slight difference, but the overall trend is very clear. They are beneficial.
So talk about apelin. What is apelin? And you notice that this is the protein that causes a browning of fat. Is that right?
Yes, this is relatively newly discovered exokines. So as we just talked before the break, that's cytokines, or sometimes we can call it hormones. So they are secreted during the exercise by the muscle fibers, and they can go to the circulation, and they can stimulate actually fetal secretion of pollen too, so that actually would be beneficial for the fetal development. And right now we are designing an additional study using knockout mice, so to see whether by specifically remove this signaling pathway to see whether beneficial still exists. we haven't finished that study yet, so we cannot definitively say this is exclusively mediating the beneficial effect, but we do observe that there is a beneficial effect by administering the maternal mice with this
Apelin? Yeah.
itself actually is beneficial for fetal development.
So this could also be a therapeutic intervention in, let's say, a mom is obese at the time of pregnancy, and let's say she has a variety of conditions that preclude her from being able to exercise. Then you could actually mimic exercise by giving the mom apelin. Sounds like.
Yeah, I will say that right now it's premature to say that, but based on our rodent studies, we use this pollen daily injection to the maternal mice, and that did generate beneficial effects actually similar to exercise.
That's very interesting. What about the heart? Did the heart look any different in the offspring of the mothers that exercise? Because we know that athletes tend to have bigger hearts. We know racehorses, the best racehorses in the world, always had much larger hearts than average racehorses. And so the heart seems to be, since it's a pump, and you pointed out that they seem to be able to experience or resist strenuous exercise fatigue. Is there any indication that these rodents are built with or born with better pumps, with better hearts?
We did not, we actually haven't examined closely, but based on the weight of the heart, we did not observe significant difference. So I would say that after both, if the offspring mice keep exercising, their heart might be developed bigger, but we did not see significant difference in our rodents without exercise.
You know, it's funny. I know a lot of people, because of doing the show for 14 years, who are devoted athletes. Maybe they don't compete at Olympic events, but they have certain competitions that they do, but they've been devoted to physical culture and exercise. And then they usually marry someone who has a similar lifestyle, because it's hard to be someone who loves exercise and physical culture and eating right and getting to sleep early and all the things that we do in this community of this audience without marrying someone who likes the same things, because otherwise you're not going to have a good relationship. And when I look at their children are all fit. There's a fella that Elisa and I, there's a Mennonite family that we buy produce from, and we buy other products from. And we have watched their sons. There's two different families, actually. One that I used to get dairy from. But I've watched both of their sons grow up. And their sons are hardworking. They work on the farm. The mothers work the whole time they're pregnant. They don't sit around, because the Mennonite culture, everybody works, everybody toils, everybody harvests, everybody does everything. And their children are born remarkably lean and muscular. And they don't go to the gym. You know, they don't do anything to build their bodies per se, but they work hard. And I'm sure the mothers worked hard while they were pregnant. And when we look at these people, you know, it's just astonishing to me when you look at them, and then you look at the average American today who's giving birth to a butterball of a baby, you know, also, he's 12 pounds. You know, that's not a good thing to have a 12-pound baby, just for the record. And so, you know, I see the difference in the culture that rewards hard work throughout life, and the offspring all look like superhumans. They all do, without even trying. So it's really interesting. I love what you're talking about, because we need to get moms to exercise more. We really do. And we need to get people in general, especially in the face of this pandemic, we need to get people to care more about exercise and staying healthy before their life is being threatened by a pandemic. I hope that what comes out of this pandemic is that people start to be more considerate of their bodies and concerned about their health.
Yeah, I always emphasize regular exercise is very important for keeping physically fit. And there is a slogan that the exercise is best medicine. So I always believe exercise is very important. Of course, for those who has not regularly exercised up to now, then you can start exercise slowly but progressively.
We're going to take our last commercial break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up this interview. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Crank your muscle gains to new heights by transforming every gram of protein you eat into 3 grams with Masszymes. With 100,000 HUTs of protease per capsule, Masszymes increases your absorption of key amino acids, resulting in stronger, healthier digestion of proteins and certain vitamins that not only multiplies the impact of the protein you eat, but can also repair a damaged intestinal wall. Go to Masszymes/SHR for 10% off. That's MASSZYMES.com/SHR.
Quest Nutrition makes bars, cookies, chips, and pizzas out of complete dairy-based proteins. Our products minimize net carbs and sugar without sacrificing taste. Each delicious chocolate-flavored chip, cookie chunk, and crunchy crumble is custom-made to maintain Quest macros. It's time to enjoy foods that work for you, not against you. It's time to enjoy your Quest.
Ever wish there was a precise way to gauge your recovery from workout to workout? Or wonder if the money you're spending on your nootropic supplements are actually improving brain function? Maybe you're aging and you're noticing some changes in memory. Wouldn't being able to really test your brain be of great value? Well, now you can with great accuracy with the Brain Gauge. The Brain Gauge lets you test essential components of brain health and track your brain health history, and all in the comfort of your own home. Go to gaugeyourbrain.com and use code SHR for $150 off this amazing device. That's gaugeyourbrain.com and SHR for $150 off. Are you looking for a better way to absorb the nutrients you know you need? Do what I do and start your day with lipospheric supplements from LivOn Labs. Unlike pills and powders, LivOn's patented liposomal encapsulation technology transports nutrients like vitamin C, vitamin B, glutathione, acetyl L-carnitine, and alpha-lipoic acid to where they need to be, your cells. Visit try.livonlabs.com/Carl to learn why I take these supplements every day to help me perform in the gym and in life. That's try.livonlabs.com/Carl. Hey, this is Carl. For 14 years, you've heard me talk about Can-C eye drops, and they being the reason that I do not need reading glasses at now 61 years old. But I regularly get emails and messages from people who've been using Can-C and having some amazing results. Recently, I got an email from a fella named Chad, who, because he was on dexamethasone eye drops for over 6 months, developed a cataract. Can-C eye drops actually reduced my cataract to the point where even my doctor has a hard time finding it. I will never stop using Can-C eye drops twice a day. I've been using them since 2008, he says. And you should be too. There is no better way to keep your eyes healthy and seeing clearly than Can-C eye drops. Go to wisechoicemedicine.com today and get on board, and we will both be looking into the future with very clear vision.
This is the Superhuman Channel, where we use oxygen for the power of good.
Welcome back. Dr. Du, you said that you've got another paper that's in peer review that's going to be published that looks more at the muscle side of this discussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Will you come on when that paper is published?
It's hard to say because it's in revision right now. There's no guarantee that it will be published by the journal we submit. But I would guess it still require maybe several months at least, maybe half year to get it finally published.
Mm-hmm. What about doing these kind of studies in porcine and pigs? They tend to be more similar to humans. Isn't that the next step up? Like when you look at the hierarchy of animals that are used in studies that should have a gravity in humans? Aren't now they have that little pig that they're easier to take care of in labs? Is a pig model study a step up from a rodent model study?
Usually not, because pig study would be quite demanding. We actually thinking about maybe do a follow-up study in humans, in pregnant women directly, because that might be easier to do compared with
Pig.
pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humans are easier to tell what you want them to do.
Yeah, and also basically most basic biological questions we want to address would be able to do in rodents.
Mhm.
And it's smaller and much easier. We have a transgenic mice available too. So in the next step, we are thinking maybe do a human study directly.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So that study, the human study, you don't even have that in the works yet, right? You're just thinking about doing it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do not have actually. We are just thinking about it.
I mean, I would imagine there's some obstacles in doing studies in women and pregnant women, humans, because there are some associated risks and liabilities with that, right? How do you even get an IRB for that? Can you get an IRB for that?
Exactly. So there is some concern about because we need a group of control group.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that that could be negatively impact the fetal development. So that's actually there is some concern and some difficulty in separating into two groups.
I get it that the problem with control groups is they're not getting the therapeutic, so they're not benefiting from the protection, and you literally are hoping that they develop whatever the disease is that you're looking for as the control against the therapeutic group. But if people say, I had no plans of exercising during pregnancy, I had no plans of changing the way I eat, I had no plans of changing the way I sleep. And you says, okay, great. We just want to monitor you. That's all we want to do. I don't understand why there is any potential liability from that if they already agreed that that's what they were going to do. And then if the therapeutic group, if they say, yeah, I planned on exercising and I planned on eating right and I planned on getting to sleep early and not putting on too much body weight, you say, great, just do what you were going to do. That's what I see. That would be how it has to be done.
Yeah, that's what we are thinking we plan to do. Actually, that might be the only way. So concern is that usually those women who do not want to exercise, do not want to change, tend to be those women who are already obese,
right,
and physically unfit. So in that case, then there's a general question about the baseline. The baseline would be slightly different between two groups. So it would be hard to conclusively say that this is because exercise, because it's already in the starting point, there's some difference.
Yeah, but again, I don't see that as an obstacle because there are a lot of women out there who exercise and aren't obese, but they do not plan on exercising during pregnancy because their mother told them not to, their doctor told them not to, or they're just afraid that exercise during pregnancy is too extreme of a thing to do. And I'm just going to take 9 months off. There are women out there that are like that. You just need to get them to do what they had planned to do.
Yeah, that possibly is a way we want to pursue, but there is some difficulties in finding those sufficient number, which are matched to the exercise group.
How many people would you need in each group to make it statistically significant?
Usually would be larger sample size, certainly be better, but that's always a challenge for the human studies. So sufficient number of patients. In this case, pregnant woman want to participate in the study. Yeah.
I want to thank you for being here today. It's very, very fascinating. And, a lot of people may not think that this is exciting research, but it really is because the trajectory of your child and the trajectory of our population starts in the mother's womb. And so when we realize that, prenatal vitamins, meaningless. How you live, what you eat, how well you sleep, and the lifestyle that you live imprints that baby. And that's the important thing. That's the important thing.
That's exactly. We actually have another rodent study ongoing about the maternal stress. And we do found that stress would induce secretion of stress hormones. That stress hormone actually negatively impact fetal development. And that paper actually just accepted by diabetes, the Journal of Diabetes. So I think, that's.
Well, can you just expand on that? So what happens? There's a lot of women out there today pregnant in unsupportive environments. They're under a lot of stress day in and day out. What happens to the fetus when they live in that secretion of stress hormones surrounding them all the time?
Yeah, we found out when the maternal is stressed, mother is stressed, they secrete stress hormones that can inhibit the development of brown fat and also the oxidative muscle fibers. It's just the opposite of the maternal exercise. The beneficial effect of exercise can provide it. So that's actually, so I would say that during the pregnancy, regular exercise, keep healthy and keep happy, and
keep the stress down. Keep the stress down.
Yeah, that would be very beneficial for the fetal development and the future health of the children.
Thanks for being here today, Dr. Du. Fascinating stuff. Okay, thank you. And we're going to take one last commercial break. And when we come back, I've got some stuff to talk about what's going on in Atlanta, Georgia right now. If you haven't heard the news, I want to get it out there because I don't think the mainstream media is picking up on this stuff. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more. Imagine if you had a digital twin, one that you could compare your own health and fitness outcomes to, one that showed you whether or not the things you're doing, food you're eating, or drinks you're drinking are actually working for you or against you. Well, now you can. The first ever advanced epigenetic saliva test that compares 20 million different data points of your DNA to help predict what is aging you faster or keeping you younger is being introduced to my audience at a 70% discount from the normal price. Go to seeds.md/epigenetic-test today to learn how to get your own digital twin that will help you take the steps to live longer and stay stronger. Don't wait because this is a limited time offer not available anywhere else. Once these tests are gone, they're gone. Again, go to seeds.md/epigenetic-test today to learn more. Whether your goal is to build muscle or burn fat, you'll find everything you need at Redcon One. Need help getting a good night's sleep? Try Fade Out, or the most popular pre-workout supplement on the market today, Total War. Sign up for their new Transformation Challenge and win $10,000, or shop for apparel that people at the gym will know that you are serious about your training. Need a testosterone booster that works? Check out Boomstick. Whatever you need, you'll find the best quality supplements on the market at Redcon One. Go to redcon1.com. That's REDCON1.com, or go to superhumanradio.net and click the Redcon One banner ads today. Are you looking for a better way to absorb the nutrients you know you need? Do what I do and start your day with lipospheric supplements from Live-On Labs. Unlike pills and powders, Live-On's patented liposomal encapsulation technology transports nutrients like vitamin C, vitamin B, glutathione, acetyl L-carnitine, and alpha-lipoic acid to where they need to be, your cells. Visit try.liveonlabs.com/Carl to learn why I take these supplements every day to help me perform in the gym and in life. That's try.livonlabs.com/Carl. Ever wish there was a precise way to gauge your recovery from workout to workout? Or wonder if the money you're spending on your nootropic supplements are actually improving brain function? Maybe you're aging and you're noticing some changes in memory. Wouldn't being able to really test your brain be of great value? Well, now you can with great accuracy with the Brain Gauge. The Brain Gauge lets you test essential components of brain health and track your brain health history, and all in the comfort of your own home. Go to gaugeyourbrain.com and use code SHR for $150 off this amazing device. That's gaugeyourbrain.com and SHR for $150 off. Do you remember those delicious toaster pastries you had when you were a kid? You know, the rectangular sugar-filled snacks? Well, guess what? Legendary Foods has just made low-carb toaster pastry. This is the first of its kind, and honestly, these things are amazing. They have 3 to 4 net carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 9 grams of protein. You can eat them right out of the wrapper or lightly toast them. The only question is, which flavor, strawberry or brown sugar cinnamon? They're available at eatlegendary.com and Amazon.
This is the Superhuman Channel, where brawn and brains finally meet.
Welcome back. You know, it's a weird thing. If you search right now, Google, for the last few days update from Georgia, the state of Georgia, you'll only find articles from anywhere from a week to 3 weeks ago saying that if Georgia opens up too soon, they're going to see a spike in deaths. It's a bad idea. But the governor of Georgia decided to follow his own plan, and Georgia has opened back up pretty much almost completely. Well, over the weekend, they had a drop in new coronavirus reports. You can't find that. You can't find it on the internet. You can't find it anywhere. I heard it on a news show, and I listened to the one of the representatives from Georgia talking about it, and he was saying that the new cases reported over the past 3 days have dropped considerably. Now, is there going to be other deaths? Yes, because we talked about this the other day. You can't wait a virus out. You can't stay hidden from it. As soon as people start moving around again, it is going to continue to run through our population. And it's going to do that even if we had a vaccine, because we know that vaccines are only at best 50-55% effective. So you're still going to have people dying from coronavirus, even with the vaccine. But there's no good news in the United States being promoted by the mainstream media at all. And, you know, we look at Sweden and we look at South Korea, and people try to explain them away. Oh, well, they do this and they do that and they do this, they do that. Okay. Meanwhile, the governor of New York admitted end of last week that 59% of the new cases are coming from people that are staying home. What? Wait a minute. They're social distancing to the max, and they're staying home, and they're being rushed to the hospital with coronavirus. Something's not right. If you don't ask yourself, I don't care. This is not political. I don't care what you believe. But when you hear these honest statements that 59% of people in New York are getting the coronavirus are people who are staying home. 50% of the people dying of coronavirus in New York are in old age homes, 80 and above. I mean, those people would die from the flu. And then you hear about a state like Georgia that's opened up, and they have actually seen a drop over the past few days in newly reported cases. But you don't hear that anywhere. You don't hear it on the news. In fact, if you Google it, all they give you is stuff from 3 weeks ago. You know, Georgia making a mistake. Georgia's going to see a rise in death. Georgia. And it's not happening. I mean, I don't care who you believe or who you don't. But if you're a critical thinker, you got to go, what is this? What's going on here? Everything they tell us doesn't happen. You know, the things that they don't tell us happen. Wear a mask, don't wear a mask. I mean, it's just, the truth is, politicians know nothing. They're following scientists who either have agendas or they don't know what they think they know about this virus. And I think it's time for people to start moving back into a more traditional way of life. Keep social distancing. If you're one of those people who is at risk, if you're 75, 80 years old, or if you're 40 and really, really, really unhealthy, you've had type 2 diabetes for the past 2 decades, you're on a bunch of meds, you literally couldn't walk down a flight of stairs to save your own life. Think about the people who died in the World Trade Center. The majority of people that died on the stairwells were so unfit that they couldn't walk down 100 flight or 200 flights of stairs to save their own life. Think about that. Like, we're not talking about walking up. Hold on to the railing and just walk down nice and slow. Okay, I'm going to be here for the next 30 minutes doing this, but I'm getting out of this building. They couldn't do that. They just sat down on the stairs and accepted their fate. We live in a country of, I'm sorry to say it, fat, unhealthy people. And I feel sorry for them because I used to be one of them. If I didn't change my life, I'd be here too right now, not behind this mic at all, but in fact worried about COVID-19 because I would be, if I was still alive, fat and unhealthy. This is a wake-up call. People need to listen to this. They need to get this straight. It's time to stop being stupid about your health. It's time to stop. Rush Limbaugh thinks exercise is a bad idea. I mean, think about that. It's a bad idea not to move regularly and exert energy and put yourself in motion over and over again throughout the day and burn calories. That's the bad idea. That's the bad idea. And those are the people who will die from this virus. And I'm going to say something else. I'm going to incense a lot of people, but I'm going to say it. It's the truth. If this virus was allowed to cut through our population, it would thin the herd of all the sick people, all the people that we have to pay more money for on health care to keep them alive because they don't give a damn about their health. They keep living crappy lives and just ask for another medication to cover up another symptom. If this virus went through our population, we'd come out the other side with only strong, healthy people. And I know what you're saying. That's a horrible thing. I know, because the idea of someone dying is a horrible thing. It's driven our species. It's why we've come up with modern medicine. But the reality is that in the animal kingdom, they cull the herds. They take the old animals that are not able to provide, they're not able to reproduce, and they're just really not serving a purpose. They take them out to keep the herd strong for the greater good of the herd. And I'm not suggesting that we do that to humans. But what I am saying is, if people took care of their bodies and took care of their health and didn't become fat, slovenly, broken human beings, they wouldn't be worried about this virus right now. So am I the wrong one for not worrying for them? Is it my job to worry for them, or is it their job to worry for themselves? It's abdication of responsibility. It's the core of a lot of bad things in our country. And we put up with it because we feel sorry for people. Why do we feel sorry for people who don't do what's in their own best interest? I'll leave you with that question today. Share the show. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.